The Reluis Consortium has also embraced an international mission. In May 2023, a team of professors, researchers and doctoral students travelled to Turkey following the devastating earthquake that struck the country in February 2023. This technical and scientific undertaking was promoted by the Department of Civil Protection. The mission was particularly significant from the scientific and technical points of view, but it was also a profoundly meaningful human experience involving numerous young Italian researchers. Let us now hear what some of those taking part in the Turkish mission had to say.
My experience in the areas of Turkey and Syria struck by earthquakes was truly unique. It wasn't the first time I'd carried out inspections in regions affected by earthquakes, but there's always something new to learn on every occasion. The buildings clearly show what went wrong, and the local people convey a strong sense that they're ready to start afresh. The experience of surveying school buildings in Turkey following the earthquake was very instructive. It allowed us to assess the level of damage in the most affected areas and the effectiveness of seismic improvements. The mission was also an opportunity to discover the culture and hospitality of the Turkish people, despite the hardship the earthquake caused. What I experienced over those few days left me with mixed emotions, constantly torn between professional growth and the helplessness we felt on seeing what had happened. But what really stands out is the warmth of the people who welcomed us, sharing what little they still had and showing the true meaning of the word resilience. From this experience, I brought back with me a series of interesting case studies of buildings and structures, but most importantly, a sense of the dignity and strength with which children, adults, and the elderly who have lost so much, if not everything, face the present while looking towards the future. It was a rewarding experience. You come back home with a heavy heart after the dreadful scenes you've witnessed, but at the same time you feel enriched by a professional experience that helps you grow as a professional and inspires you to contribute, albeit in a very small way, to reducing the likelihood of catastrophes like this causing such devastating effects again. Seeing the damage has taught us a lesson that will stay with us forever. It exposed the critical flaws in certain construction practices that must be avoided in the future. It has also highlighted the effectiveness of some improvement techniques applied to school buildings, which were rigorously tested on a large scale during the aftershocks that followed the earthquake.
In Turkey, we are continuing to find ways to make structures less vulnerable and safer. This experience has demonstrated the resilience of communities affected by the earthquake.
The mission in Turkey allowed me to experience firsthand a reality that had been affected to the core and, at the same time, to gain some valuable engineering insights. I got to know some colleagues and experienced the local hospitality, which helped me understand that the work we do is also extremely important in social terms. The experience in Turkey defies description, evoking strong emotions on both the personal and professional levels. Personally, it inspires hope and a desire to help, fueled by the strength and courage of the people we encountered. Professionally, it continually reminds us to reflect on the importance of improving the safety and resilience of buildings.
The experiences in Turkey are particularly striking from the human perspective. They highlight the warmth and willingness of people affected by disaster as serious as this. And from a technical standpoint, the importance of oversight in design and the correct implementation of construction practices really becomes clear.
The experience was emotionally overwhelming and scientifically stimulating. By observing the damage to the buildings, I found answers to some questions, while also realizing the need to ask new ones, which will form the basis for my future research. The experience in Turkey was anyway very intense. As often happens, alongside the destruction, the strength and resilience of the people were particularly evident. On the other hand, analyzing the damage to buildings is always an important opportunity to develop new technologies and contribute to reducing casualties in future disasters.
Per me questa è stata la primissima.
This was my first field experience, and I really felt a range of mixed emotions. On one hand, I have vivid impressions of the destruction and rubble. On the other, I remember the carefreeness of the children and the kindness and strength of the adults.